One of the new movies being shot in Australia at the moment is a movie called Hunting. And I'd like you to welcome its stars from America, John Savage, and also Australia's own Kerry Armstrong. Welcome. Please sit down. It's great to see you again, Kerry.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Welcome to Australia, John.
My pleasure.
I'm told, Kerry, that you wanted to come back because you were doing very well over in America, but you were also homesick.
I was homesick. I was, after 5 years, I just suddenly one day, in the middle of it all, I just stopped and I realised no one was coming to see me in my plays. You know, all the other kids would get flowers and things from their parents, and I'd sit there every night going, no, no. So I wanted to come back here, and I wanted to work here very badly. I think we've got great writers and great filmmakers and all of that.
So you're back to stay?
Yeah, I am.
John, I've got to tell you that Kerry and I know each other very well, and we've known each other for a long time. Kerry started doing Weather on the Nine Network not all that long ago. I remember that. And then she's developed into one of Australia's great young actresses, and it's just terrific to see her come back to her home country. John, this is your first visit to Australia, and I would never ask the question, what do you think of us, because you've been here a couple of weeks, except to say that mutual friends tell me that you've fallen in love with the country already.
Yeah. No, I was going to say it if you didn't. I've been trying to get here for over 20 years, and I've got a cousin of mine, and I agreed we were going to take off from Vermont, dairy farm country, and take advantage of a subsidy and go work some property up northwest of Sydney. And of course, being an actor, I have a lot of ideas. He took off and he stayed here, and he's been working up there, Doug Field, for all this time. But when I got here, I found Melbourne a beautiful city, some really talented folks, like Kerry was saying, and I think there should be more films made in Australia about Australia.
So would you consider settling here?
I'd like to settle somewhere someday. I'm moving.
Well, speaking of settling, you were raised in New York, but now you live in South Africa. Why?
Well, I stayed there for the last year because I was working in Namibia, southwest, and up towards the border in Angola. And I don't want to put the two in the same basket, but Australia and I think parts of the world like South Africa and other areas, they're just growing very quickly. And I think if film can be made about the cultural progress and conflicts and things that are going on in those different parts of the world, whether they're Eastern Bloc countries or parts of this hemisphere, I think the Asian, Australian, and the complex situation here and growing process that's going on here, I think young people have a real hunger to find out more about other places in the world. So getting to know a lot of people there and staying for a year, working with musicians and Johnny Clegg's efforts with the union that he put together there with other folks, it was educational, and it was really kind of a joy.
What's it like to be a star of a movie like The Deer Hunter when it's become simply a classic? Do you find it then a very hard act to follow? Well,
I didn't really think of it as an act. We're fortunate every once in a while to get films that might have something to do with things that we find personal interest or involvement with or affected by stories like The Deer Hunter was concerned about. So everybody in that film, and I find that in a lot of films I do, the whole company has some personal interest, and so it was an enjoyable work effort. And after we're through working, I'm not sure what's going to happen with any film I'm involved with. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to see it received well.
So you see it as work at that time, and something enjoyable to work on, but then you keep moving on.
Oh yeah.
Kerry, you've had the opportunity of moving on to some terrific things in America. I mean, you did some great things, but you obviously are, and I think it's highly admirable, you're selective in what you do. You were offered Saturday Night Live, which is one of the biggest television shows in America, and you chose to go elsewhere.
Yes. Silly me. No, I didn't want to do comedy. I'm being told by the girls on this movie and the entire crew that I should actually do comedy, but I wanted to be taken seriously, so I could be a serious actress and, be Meryl Streep and all of that. And then it sort of dissipated. And I sat there with the Royal Shakespeare Company in Washington, and my agent said, so, the difference, $500 to $15,000 a week. He said, put it this way, you're not my favorite client. And I said, it's cool. I just wanted to do theatre, which is what I did there. And we had a theatre company that we formed with Tim Robbins and John Cusack. Tim's in Bulldown. And wrote our own plays. There was a lot of stuff going on politically with what Mr. Reagan was doing and the space shuttle, and the farming crisis across the wheat belt in '85 was horrific. There was a attempted suicide rate of over 50% of farmers, extraordinary. So it was us doing our thing, and it started at the bottom. I want to work in a family situation, which is why I've got my brother on this film.
Kerry, why is it in the States that someone like yourself, you get the opportunity of doing some good work, and yet there are so many people who are talented who just don't get the opportunity? Is it simply because of the population, or is it really so much a tougher business over there compared to Australia?
Oh, I think it's tough. I think it's also who looks after you. I was very lucky that people would come in, like Rod Steiger and Uta Hagen. People actually saw me while I was in class, and they would help me. It was to do with that. It was to do with a blind ambition that I had. I'm not sure, in the sense of wanting to play dress-ups and make-believe, and it wasn't to do with that I thought I was better than anybody ever. I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's a combination of things. There's a great deal of nepotism in America, and I think that's a good thing. I didn't used to. Do you? You
think it's a good thing?
No.
Why not?
I think
look, we talked about this before.
I know. It plateaus the kind of growth that I think that's possible. And
what sort of nepotism are we talking about?
I mean,
well, it's two kinds. I think one is the financing structure. There's a lot more marketing areas, with cable and television and stuff, but they're not using. It's not emphasized enough, I don't think. Like the overseas efforts, there's so many places to put stuff that's made from overseas, and I see it being done in other places in the world. I see it done in South Africa. I see it done here, where you've got films from overseas that are shown on television, and that, the marketing structure goes almost computerized with forms and formats for films or shows that work, and it just gets repetitive, and it doesn't. It gets boring. It's boring to me. I don't know about other people, but I'm interested in seeing more things from other places in different formats and stories. As far as nepotism, I think it's a vicious cycle.
Really? In a way.
Because with names and packaging and stuff that does allow that, what happens is people get used over and over and over.
This is going to be a great shoot, I can see some wonderful blues coming along.
No, we've had...
You've started shooting already, have you?
Yeah, we have started shooting. We've been doing night shoots, which is...
And lots of conversations?
Lots of
conversations.
We've been doing some...
Good on you. Well, good luck with hunting. I hope it's a great success. It's wonderful to have you here in Australia, John, and it's great to welcome you back, Kerry.
Thank you so much.
John Savage and Kerry Armstrong. More after this break.